come on here live, but I'll move it out of the way once it connects. There it is. All right, so let me take that off. All right. Now, okay, we still got about 4 minutes. So were you able to get it to her?
Yes, I was.
Okay. All right, so let me look up here. And I'm just going to start us off in just a few minutes. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. I hear a little feedback. Can you hear that?
I can't. No, ma'am.
Okay, hang on. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's a lot better. All right, all right, all right. Now, one more thing. Hey, for those of you who are jumping on a little bit early, thank you for tuning in. I see that we've got about 3 minutes. And listen, I know you're excited, and I am excited. I'm just as excited. Anytime something big is about to happen, I get a little nervous. I get a little nervous energy. And so because I know that this is going to be amazing. So you guys hang on in there with us while I continue to do a few little things in the background. I am Dee Sneed, Donna Sneed, that is. And I always like to ask folks, when I say that I am Dee Sneed, my question is, do you know who you are? I am the host of the Savvy Business Podcast. And listen, you're in for a treat. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. You are in for a treat. I've been trying to tell people for a while that, hey, we got something amazing happening here. I've got a boss lady. I've got an entrepreneur. I've got a guru in the building, in the room with me. I'm privileged, you guys. She has been doing her thing for many, many years. And watch this. She's working a 9 to 5. So don't tell me that you can't work a business, start a business, run a business, have good success, and still work a 9 to 5. It's going to take some work, because trust me, I've been there and done that. And we don't have time for it today. But one of these days, I'll be able to talk about that. But listen, y'all hang right on in there with it. We've got a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to bring Megan on. She'll grab the microphone and she'll be able to help us understand what this is all about. Talking about branding and building with integrity. Now, I added integrity in there because, there's a couple of words, and I noticed, and we'll get to talking with Megan in just a minute, but there's a couple of words that she has in her motto, or in her I was about to say logo, her slogan, if you will. And she talks about branding. She's a personal brand marketing consultant, but she also talks about helping brands do business in an excellent manner. And so excellence is one of those words. Integrity is one of those words. All of those are in my mind, are interchangeable. And so we're going to jump right on in. Listen, you guys, call somebody, phone somebody, text somebody,
Right.
do whatever you got to do. Because if you are in business, if you are even contemplating doing business, you want to grab your seat. You want to grab a pen. You want to grab your pad, your paper. You want to grab some tissue paper, whatever you got that's right next to you, because I don't want you to miss anything. I want you to just be sitting there waiting on the word to drop, because it's going to be very, very rich on this evening. Again, I am Donna Sneed, and I'm your host of the Savvy Business Podcast. And you can find the Savvy Business Podcast at donnasneed.com/savvy business. I've been doing podcasts for a little bit. I've jumped out of the way for a while because during that time, I was definitely working my 9 to 5. And I recently, probably 3, 4 months ago, retired. Whoop, whoop, for me. And after 37 years of working for the Department of Defense, and listen, I was doing what I was doing to make the thing work and have been doing business since 1999. Don't be tripping. Okay. All right. I understand. Um, and so I had the privilege of being able to have a conversation with Megan some years back. And I'll never forget it. We've had a couple of conversations, and she's just been getting into this business lane for quite some time. And so recently I thought about it and I've been praying about it. And I said, you know what? Megan is the woman for the job. So I want y'all to get ready. Bringing on the personal brand marketing consultant, Miss Megan Molix. I hope I'm saying that right. Girl, correct me if I'm saying something off. And here she is. Megan, welcome to the Savvy Business Podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much. And I was thinking about that today. I said, I wonder, does Miss Donna remember when I called her years ago? I was scared. I didn't know I was like, oh, Miss Donna, can you help me? Teach me how to get in business. Teach me how to be an entrepreneur. So, yes, I'm excited to be here. I have been excited since you asked me. I'm always honored when people ask me to do things like this, because sometimes I'm like, Lord, it's not all me, it's not all my hard work, but it's definitely God giving me the opportunity, and definitely God putting me in position to be able to help people to excel, to build, and to just do better with their lives and with their God-given skills and talents.
Right. Oh, I'm so excited about it. I know that you are wow, you are mastering this thing. I've been watching you. I've been trying to keep track of you, but girl, listen, you are flying through this business and this marketing, and I'm watching you especially on TikTok, and people are using TikTok. I haven't yet developed that space yet. I'm trying to juggle, you know, and get a balance across the platforms. But I want to start out, Megan. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in business. I'm really curious to know what provoked you to even get started in business.
So I've actually, oh my gosh, my journey when it comes to me being in business started, it feels like so long ago. Probably around somewhere between 2012 and 2015. I had an opportunity to move out to Texas. And when I went out to Texas, that was my first encounter with being in business for myself. And the very first thing that I learned was marketing and sales. That was cold calling, was my very first thing. And so just working through that. And when I came back, I started helping my ministry with their graphic design, with the branding. And what's happened was it really kind of happened by accident, because I was just like, okay, I'm going to help the ministry. And then, of course, my pastor would tell other pastors and tell other people. And then other people will call and other people. And so I said, let me, if I can work so hard for other people, I can do this for myself. And so I started thinking about, okay, what do I want my business to look like? But the real thing that really pushed me to really go hard with this was when my niece was born. Because I don't have any children, but when my niece was born, I said, okay, there's someone I can pass something down to. And I want her to be able to see it can be done. You can be an entrepreneur, or you can, climb the corporate ladder. You can do whatever you want. And I wanted her to see that. So I said, I have to go hard. And
Wow.
that's when Molix and Company was founded officially, because I was already doing stuff because I had spoken with you.
Yeah.
years prior to that, and I was already doing stuff. And I think it was just a little of a imposter syndrome, a little fear. But sometimes we're put in a position to where the fear, it doesn't even matter anymore. We have to do it.
Right. Right.
And so
Ooh, wow.
that's where we are right now. I founded it with my mother. She's my co-founder
All
of Molix
right.
company. Yeah, we are a family business. I'm so proud of that. We are a family business. So it's something that our family, we can pass down to other generations, and
Yes.
prayerfully they will keep up the integrity of the business.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So you said something that stuck out right just a few moments ago about already doing stuff. I think a lot of people sometimes the mindset is I've got to be doing something that is so I can't start my business until I'm at a certain point, or
Right,
until I'm this major thing or this
right,
major entity or whatever. But a lot of times the businesses, those that are successful, have been actually working their giftedness for a long time and just haven't grown into the mindset of making it work for them as
right,
a business, you know.
right.
um let's talk about business vision and how
Okay.
important it is. Number one, how important it is to have a vision, and then how do you transition from, okay, I've got a vision, I've got this concept of what I want to do. Now what? What is that supposed to look like?
Got you. So the vision is probably going to be the first thing that you get. That's the idea that keeps you up at night. That's the
Hmm.
thing that's going on in your mind that you're not telling anybody else about. It's what you see. It's the thing that you are literally envisioning. It's the life that you're envisioning. It's the solution to the problem that you have. That's the vision. And a lot of times where we will go wrong is we have the vision. We're born with that vision. Every person is born, you're born with a God-given something. You have that on the inside of you. But a lot of times what happens is from the moment we're born to when we become teenagers, adults, there's a lot of stuff that happens. And sometimes that the want to be an entrepreneur or to want to start your business, that may be dwindled down. That may be because of, your circumstances, your family, your environment. I will use me for an example. Growing up, I never saw myself as a business owner. As a matter of fact, I didn't want to be a business owner. I was okay working for other people. My dream was to go work for Coca-Cola and do marketing for Coca-Cola, and that was what my dream was, but it didn't happen. So circumstances took place, and I was put in an environment in the ministry that I was in, or that I'm in, that where they would speak into what was on the inside of me. And so they would speak to me and say, you're an entrepreneur. But what I always tell people is that anybody can tell you you're an entrepreneur. Anyone can tell you you're a business owner. It doesn't matter until you believe it.
Mm.
God can give you the vision because you know what you want to do. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help people with their brands. I knew I wanted to build websites. I knew I wanted to do graphics. I knew I wanted to help manage people's lives and different things. But I just didn't, I had a fear on the inside of me that said, girl, you can't be no business owner. You can't, no one's going to listen to you. What you think you know about that? So there's so many different things that will come against the vision that you have, but that's the very first thing is you have that vision, that thing that keeps you up. And if you're a true entrepreneur, you don't sleep at night probably. You have million
Come
ideas
on.
running in your head. You'll see something, and the first thing you'll think is, oh, I know I can do it. This is what they need to do. Or if they do it like this, it will be better. You are a walking solution. Okay.
Yep.
That's all an entrepreneur is. You are a walking solution to a problem that someone has.
Ooh, we,
So
ooh,
people is you take that and then you have to write it down, but don't just write it down, because sometimes we can be religious in the sense of, oh, I'm just going to write this down. No, not just write it down, but now that you've written it down, you're accountable to your words. Okay,
wow.
really want to do this. Let's start implementing. Let's start the implementation process. Okay, you have your vision, you know what you want to do. Now what? So what do we do now? How do you start? There's so many different ways to start. And a lot of times I feel like people will think, oh, well, like you said, I need to be in a certain place, or I need to have a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
The, the greatest thing you can do is just start. Start somewhere. And as you start, you will get introduced and you will run into the people that will say, hey, do your brand like this. You will meet business coaches, you'll meet strategists, you'll meet consultants. But the main thing is to just start.
So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at a message that I just got, and someone is trying to get
Mhm,
to the link right now. So that's the only reason why I'm looking
mhm,
away, because
mhm.
I'm trying to help her at the same time. Um, but you said something in here. Write it down. You're accountable to your words. So in other words, you're accountable. When we write that thing down, the
Mhm,
very first person who holds us accountable, or should, is us, me. When I write my words down, I should be holding myself accountable. And I like
mhm,
that because and you also talked about being religious, because a lot of times what we do is we're just in the motion. We're just
mhm.
making motion. We're just making waves. And look,
Right.
I'm a living witness for that, because I've done that so
Mm,
many. Okay, I
right.
want to do this, and there's so many ideas going on, and sometimes I just have to just chill for a moment, and so that I can get my focus back, because there's a lot, as a creative person, there's a lot of things working. I can look at a sign and be able to pick it apart and tell what I can use the tools that I know how to use to
Mhm.
make it look
Right.
like that, or better,
Right.
just
Mhm,
because the mind, is working. And so it is so important. I hope you guys are getting that. It is so important to write that vision down and take
mhm.
yourself seriously as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. So
Right.
when it comes to branding, how does one, especially somebody who's just jumping into this river, just jumping into the deep waters, and they have these grand ideas,
Mhm,
and they don't know where to start, or really don't even have an understanding of branding. Talk to us
mhm.
about what branding
Okay.
what
Okay. So I love this question. One of my favorite questions. So let me just say that. So stop me if I just go, because I love this question. So branding, let me start out with this. It is more than your logo. Most times people will automatically associate their brand with their colors, their logo, their website. Those are the top three things that people will automatically associate a brand with. Your brand is so much more than your logo, than your colors and your website. Those are all very important elements and aspects of your brand. But I really want people to look at it like this. And I like to keep things as simple as possible. I want you to think of it like this. Your brand is the element of everything of who you are. Your brand is your why you do what you do. Your brand is the who you do it. The brand is the what makes you unique. Okay, what makes you different, what makes you, and I don't want to say better than your competition, but when you're in business, you have competition.
come
What
on.
makes you stand out? What would make people want to choose you? And it's not always about your product or your service or your message. So your brand is also an accumulation of the experiences that people have with you.
Ooh,
So This means not just your face-to-face experience, not just when they meet you in public, but when they go to your website. How easy is it for someone to find you? Are you making it difficult for you have a vision, you have a business, or you have a message for those who want to be authors or those who want to be speakers. You have a message. You have something that you want your audience to know about. How difficult are you making it for them to find you? So these are all of the experiences that people have with you and all of the touch points that makes up your brand. It's
Wow.
how they feel when they experience you, when they think about you, when
Wow.
they think about the area that you're in, whether it's a product or a field. Do they think about you first?
Wow.
That's your brand. And marketing is the how. You have your what, you have your who, you have the message. Okay, how is your message, your product, your service, how is it going to get to the people? That's the marketing, that the strategy behind the how it gets to them. So I always like to break that down because I know sometimes it can be confusing, and a lot of times people will confuse the two, but your brand really expresses who you are at the very core, your values. It's going to express your mission. It's going to express, like I said, the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What's the
Mm.
motive behind it? That all of that is your brand. And
Wow.
your brand can be, there's two ways that it can really be built. It's either going to be built by you or it's going to be built by other people.
Mm.
I always tell people you never want your brand to be built by someone else, because they are only building it by their perspective of you. And
Mm.
you're so much more than that. So
Wow.
it's very helpful to people to, in the beginning, in my opinion, because there are people who say, well, you don't think about your brand till later. And I don't disagree with them, but I always want to tell entrepreneurs, when you're starting out, and even if you are established, thinking about your brand is something that you need to do, because if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. It's also
Mm.
your narrative, the story, all of that is your brand.
That's good. So, wow. Wow. You took me back for a minute because back in the day, as we say, when I first started doing business, and I was actually in the development mode very early in the year, in the 2000s, getting better and better at my craft, and not even at that time understanding the fullness of my craft or the fullness of my giftedness. I didn't go to school for it, it was just something that I actually started doing at my church, and it just started growing. It's almost like walking in, if I have to equate it to something biblical, it's like the priest putting their foot in the water, and as soon as they do it in faith, the water starts to move back. It starts to move, right?
Right.
And so this literally is what was happening with me as I started to grow in the business. And I came across a very successful woman. And I'm telling you, she was asking me to do things with graphic design that I was not mentally ready for. And I say mentally because the bottom line was I didn't feel skilled enough to do
Right.
it. And so that messed with my mental capacity.
Mhm. Right.
And what I ended up doing, I did a few things, I played it safe. Um, but it's leading me to this question because you said sometimes, we got to be really, really careful about not allowing other people to define
Mhm.
what we're doing or what we're supposed to be doing in business.
Right.
Now, she wasn't trying to negatively define me,
Mhm.
but I was feeling a little pressured because I, in my mind, wasn't skilled enough. So my question to you is, kind of on the flip side, what do we do? How do we handle as a business owner or entrepreneur stepping into this water? When somebody comes up and they want us to do something that is different from our giftedness.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? From our brain.
Right, right. So this is a great question because, I'm going to answer it two ways. So this is a great question. Number one, because this exact same thing happened to me. And what happened was that I didn't realize that I was being pushed in my gift because that person saw.
Ooh.
So they saw and they knew what I was capable. And they also knew that if you don't push Megan gonna give you the bare minimum. I'm gonna give you just enough for you to be happy, satisfied, and leave me alone. But they pushed me, and them pushing me helped birth my business.
Wow.
Now, on the other side of that, I also had to come to a place where I really knew who I was. Like I had to be solid in the foundation of my identity. And so when you think about your brand, I want you to also correlate it to your identity. I want you, because your brand is your identity. And so the flip side of that is if you have to be strong in your identity and who you are as an entrepreneur, in your skills and in your business. And if it's and we know when someone is pushing us to something greater, and we know when someone is asking us to do something outside of our scope. And what I have learned over the past year in my business is boundaries. If it's something I cannot do, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. And I have turned down money, good money,
Yeah.
but I teach people to do things with integrity. I cannot, with good conscience, take someone's money, knowing very well I cannot do what they're asking me to do.
Right.
So I have learned boundaries, and I have seen this in many entrepreneurs where, listen, it's when you're just starting. I would even say in the first maybe 5 years of your business, some days you need that money.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
days you need.
Yes.
So that's what you're thinking. You're like, I need this money. So, and I've done this before. I was like, well, you know what? I'll Google it. You go to YouTube University. I'll figure it out as I go. But what I've learned is that puts so much strain on me that I was not giving the best of myself to my clients. So I had to learn, okay, what can Megan do? What can I send out to other people? How can I build the way that I need to build and still satisfy this customer? And so I had to learn boundaries. So that's going to be something else, especially if you're starting out, because a lot of, and I see this mainly in entrepreneurs who are just starting out, because most of the time, seasoned entrepreneurs, established entrepreneurs, if they can't listen, they're going to tell you, no, I can't do it. They're going to tell you, no, I can't do it. But a lot of times it's in those who are just starting out, or it's in someone who they're still trying to find their footing in business. They're still trying to really find themselves. And that's okay too. You can find yourself. But I always just want to caution people, when you're trying to find yourself in business and you're taking money from someone, be just upfront with them and say, this is not the best skill that I have, but if you're willing to give me a try, I can do this. And I did that starting out. I did that a lot, especially when it came to building websites. There was plenty of people that I have built free websites for, simply because I was like, I'm not a website designer. I'm not a website builder. But if you're working with me, I'm working with you. We're going to figure this thing out together. And so now that's one of the things that people come to me for the most about, is building their website. But that took time for me to really hone that craft. And then there's some things that we're just naturally skilled in that we don't need, teaching or anything for. That's your God-given talent. And then
Wow.
there are other skills that we have to go to school for, that we have to learn more about. that we have the capability, but we just need more for that. So just understanding that balance of what that skill is really going to help.
Wow, that's good. I mean, listen, for those of you who are watching, I see you tuning in. I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Because if you're, bossing it up like Megan, and if you're doing the thing, the entrepreneurial thing, like we all are, you are busy trying to handle things and make it work out. So I appreciate all of you who are able to tune in on this evening. Megan is dropping some nuggets. So if you got in here late, listen, don't worry about it. You're going to be able to watch the replay. We are recording this. And so don't worry about it. You'll have the opportunity to go back. Megan, listen. Okay. Wow. You said some stuff there, but I want to try to move down the list just a little bit. And then you guys that are watching, if you don't have a notepad, you're already too late. You came unprepared to the table. You got to go grab something right now, because I have a notepad here, because I just knew that the nuggets were going to be falling off, okay, the table. And so you got to get it. You got to grab you something, because I'm moving down and I'm looking at something, and I got to put my eyes on, because Megan is going to listen, Megan. Branding seems to be a long, drawn out process. Okay, it seems to be. First of all, do you have any favorite tools that you use? I know maybe you won't be able to give us everything, but what are some of the favorite tools? And right now, AI is big. AI is a thing right now. All kinds of stuff. GPT or Chat GPT, I think I'm saying that right, is a thing. There's so much happening right now. All kinds of things. What's a favorite that you use to get your branding? And I'm talking about imaging, and graphics and things like that as well.
So, okay, so the first thing, as far as it being a long process, branding definitely is a long process, because branding is not meant to happen overnight, because you may start your business and then a year later realize, okay, I want to pivot to this. So branding is a process. It's not supposed to be something that is just overnight. No, it's supposed to be a long process.
All right.
So I want us to start out with that. So yeah, branding is supposed to be a long process. And it's supposed to be a long process because it's about, the other thing that branding is about is connecting you and your audience. So the more you get to know your audience, and the more you get to know about your business or your service or your product, whatever you're doing, then as you grow, you're going to have changes. There's going to be updates. There's going to be things that you tweak. So the brand it's going to be a long process, but it's a never ending process. You're going to always be at a place where you may not always be building it, but you're going to always be doing something to push your brand to another level, whether it's, going out and having brand awareness in new target areas and new audience, or whether it's just really navigating that relationship between you and your audience, whether it's just trying to make it stronger. So that is something I definitely wanted to make sure I said. As far as the tools, so AI is a beautiful thing. Just like I believe social media is I love social media. It could be horrible and but it could also help you. It's up to you to use it right. And it's the same way with AI. AI is, because we are a microwave generation. We are a people that wants to have things quick and fast. So we have AI to help us with that. I strongly suggest using AI, but I also tell people, when you use AI, you have to use it in the right way. Because again, it's one of those things where you can type in AI, help me create a brand message, but is it really it's not really your message. It's the AI's message. So just be very careful when you're using it. There are consultants and there are coaches who teach you how to use AI to your advantage, but it's something that I use daily. I will type, like, if there's something, an email or a proposal or something, I will put it in AI and I will ask AI, clean this up for me, make it sound a certain way. And what I have done with the AI tools, I use both Chat GPT and I use Gemini on Google. I have trained it to my voice. So that way, when it gives
Wow.
me, the output, it sounds like Megan. It doesn't sound, I can read someone's content and they use AI for that. I can always tell. So you do have to train the AI to get, to sound like you.
Wow.
Now, because it is a computer, it is technology, you still want to make sure that you are putting your human touch on it. So that way it comes across in a human approach to your audience. So
Wow.
definitely those. Canva is a good one. Canva is a great one for everyone to use, and especially those who don't have strong graphic capabilities. Canva is there, and they are doing a lot of updates where it's making it easier, where it's teaching people how to do more things. And there's a lot of templates that you can use. Canva's a great starting place. Let me say this before I say my next thing. Canva is a great starting place. Like I said, I use it. But like I said, branding is a long process. At some point, you want a brand person who's going to design something unique for you, just to give it an elevated look. You can look great with Canva, but there's always the next. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next?
Right.
So Canva is great. Gemini is great. Chat GPT is great. Poster My Wall is another one that's great for beginners if you need graphics and imagery and stuff and things like that. And just go listen. Google is your best friend.
Yep.
Google is your best friend. And just also remember, just like I said, branding, it's a long process. But it's one that's worth it, because your brand will get to a place to where people see that arch, and they know exactly what it is. Or they hear that, but that I'm loving it. They know exactly what it is. So you want that. That's not only for big corporations. That's for you. That's for the entrepreneur. That's for the
Wow.
small town entrepreneur. That's for the person just starting out. You want that because that's how you grow to the next level.
Wow. So what do you say to me? I'm an entrepreneur trying to get into this thing, and
Mhm.
I'm looking at the big box companies. I'm seeing them. I recognize them. You just said it. I mean, folders in your cup. you know,
Mhm.
we all know all of those different ones. If we heard the sound, that's a part of their branding. Is it
Mhm.
okay for me to watch them, to glean from them? Is it
Mhm.
okay for me to watch Megan and I see Megan and hey, I desire to be, excuse me, like Megan. Is that okay? Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, there's nothing new under the sun, number one. That's number one. Whatever idea you have, trust me, at some point, somewhere, someone has done it. And so there's nothing new. So it's absolutely, but you never want to copycat someone else. Okay. And that is the thing when it comes to brand. The brand is about uniqueness. What makes you unique? We could do the exact same thing, we could have the exact same product, but what makes you unique? And I know the answer to that question. It's you. It's your approach. It's how you do it. This year I recently have started putting out the Molix method to marketing and branding. It's a 3-step process that I've created. Now, marketing is nothing new, branding is nothing new, but I have created a specialized method that I believe helps entrepreneurs. And so I've named it that, the Molix method to branding and marketing. So it's I always encourage people to study the people who you want to study, the people who have gone before you. I do it all the time. This one of the reasons why I went back to school. And so you want to study, to see what they've done wrong. You want to study to see what they've done right. You also want to study to see where are they lacking? What's the area they're not touching? Because more than likely that's your area. So
Wow.
definitely look up people and study people and reach out to them and read their books and read about their lives and things like, because that is going to stimulate your vision. That goes right back to what we were talking about in the beginning. That's going to stimulate that vision, because there's days when I'm just like, forget it. I don't even want to do it. I don't want a business. I'm done. All of that. And so I have to encourage myself. Okay. I
Yes.
have to encourage myself. And one of the ways I encourage myself is I go and I look at the people who I admire. Nicole Walters, Oprah. When I was a little girl, I said I wanted to be like Oprah. I go and look at her story and look at what she's done. And it reminds me, Megan, you can, if it's already been done, you can do it. So definitely. But like I said, remember, it's great to use people as inspiration,
Yeah.
but you don't want to copy them. You don't want to copycat them, because then now you're just taking on their identity and not your own.
Wow. 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 Oh my goodness. Because I mean, it is amazing. I think if I even tried to sit and think about the different people whom I consider to be my mentors, there are several people.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, and the majority of them I've never met personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been watching people who I like to look at it like this. I like to watch people who are doing the doggone thing in a major way. Because one thing that I truly understand is that when people are actually in that vein, whatever that vein is, and that's a part of your giftedness,
Right.
when they're doing it and they're doing it well,
Mm-hmm.
um, you want to focus on them because they're going to help you to get to that place. If that's where your giftedness is, if that's where, if it falls in line with your concept and with your vision, and you are setting your mind on that thing, because listen, you said it earlier, if true entrepreneurs, true visionaries cannot go to sleep on what's working on the inside of them. It's like it's always there. It's not
Right.
going anywhere. And so when you set your mind on that thing, on that mentor, and you're watching them, it causes you to challenge yourself to
Right.
get better, to develop yourself, to grow in that space, to develop that product, that next product. It's like it's always coming, it's always working.
Right.
But here's my question. Change happens so quickly. You're talking about Chat GPT and AI. Technology
Mm-hmm.
is changing so fast these
Mm-hmm.
days. Talk to the business owners, the entrepreneurs out there who have been doing business for 1,000 years, and technology is moving so fast. How important is it for them to at least try to jump on board, or do they stay where they are? Is that okay? You know what I mean? Talk to us and help us to
Right.
understand, how do we maneuver through the change that's happening with technology these days. It's difficult.
It definitely is difficult because there's so much out there. And so when it comes to change and when it comes to technology, it's a lot of times it's not going to hurt you to try it. It's a matter of fact, it's never going to hurt you to try it. Like I said, it's just making sure that you're using it in the right way. Change can be difficult. Change can, the times, are changing. Change can be difficult. However, this goes back to what we just talked about. looking at those companies, looking at those people who have been around. Coca-Cola is a 100-year-old company. Ford, look at
Right.
what the things that their product has never changed.
Wow.
Coca-Cola has never, it's always been Coca-Cola. Now, do they have other brands under them? Of course. They have, you go to the store right now, you're gonna find Coke Raspberry or Coke Spice or something like that.
Yes.
So change is not always a bad thing. You're gonna have your core message, your core product that will more than likely never change. Now, what may change is how you get it to your customer. It may change on how you talk to your customer. It may change on the type of marketing. So I don't want people to feel as if, oh, technology is going to be overwhelming. Don't let it be overwhelming to you. You just have to know how to use it. And old school business practices still work. Like they still, because when technology goes down, a few weeks ago, no, not Instagram, Facebook went down. I think Instagram did go down. Like, so if that happens, what are you going to do if you're a strictly online social media business?
Wow.
So I encourage people to have that old school backup. That's there for a reason. It's worked for many, many years. So don't be afraid of it. It's just like
Wow.
with anything else. We really do have to embrace it and use it to your advantage. And if it doesn't work for you, use what's working.
Wow.
Use what's working. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So
Wow.
that's the best thing
That's
I can
good.
say about that.
That's really good. I'm glad you said that.
Mhm.
Because it works both ways. I mean, use
Mhm.
what you have. I'm glad you brought up the big Coca-Cola in them. I mean, they're
Mhm.
sticking. I think of Popeye's chicken, and and
Mhm.
and all of that good flavor is still there.
Mhm.
But they've expanded their reach. They've expanded their product.
Mhm.
Businesses have expand their services, and it is
Right.
okay. You're really just bringing in another piece of the puzzle that could bring in that extra revenue. And there's nothing wrong
Right.
with that. There's nothing wrong with, listen, I'm a believer that there's nothing wrong with even tapping into other people, maybe not as an employee, but
Right.
utilize other folks who have that skill set that perhaps,
Right.
I'm lacking.
Right.
Behind the scenes, you're going to provide it to the customer who is asking you for this product or
Right.
the service, but you're
Right.
paying for it. You've got a contractor in place
Right.
basically who
Right.
skill and the savvy to be able to do that piece that you don't necessarily, one, either don't have time to do, or you're
Right.
not skilled as you would like to be in it. So there's
Right.
nothing wrong with tapping in to, reaching across the aisle and tapping
Right.
into somebody else's skill set. So I want to pause right here because I see some people joining. I see Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. I see the Lighthouse Project Christian Counseling over there. I believe that's you, Ida. Ida says, I love Grammarly AI. I like Grammarly
Mhm.
too.
Yes.
Let's see. What else do I see? Now, Cheryl says AI does not capture the authentic you. It's helpful for recording your text to help polish it. I like that.
Mhm.
Because that takes me back to something that you said. And when you were talking about AI
Mhm.
and AI having its own message, but you
Mhm.
got to remember your own personal why and
Right.
be able to make sure that your message is out there.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I'm glad that she said that. I'm glad that you said that because branding, that's another very big nugget of it is being authentic and being authentically you. And although AI can help you, cut down your time on writing or generating ideas, it doesn't know the authenticity of you, who you are.
Yeah, That's good right there. So listen, guys, those of you who are tuning in, you're watching us and leaning in and taking those copious notes and all that good stuff. If you have any questions, because we're about to wrap it up in a few minutes, but if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I'm watching the chat and scrolling. And I see some comments. I'm motivated. I believe that's Dorcas saying the money be looking right. Some clients will make you stretch your capacity was another comment. Exactly. And we can't be afraid. I'm telling you, when I was young in the business of doing business, I was literally intimidated by that stretch because it's like I just did not know. And if I could go back, if I have to name a regret, that would be one of them. Wow. Because what I let it do, what I felt to be the pressure of that, I let it ruin that relationship, that business relationship. I did some things for this individual, an amazing woman of businesswoman, but I did do some things for her, but I did the things that were comfortable for me.
Right.
Looking back and knowing where I am right now, as far as my giftedness, there was nothing that she asked me to do that I could not have done then.
Right.
I was very, very afraid and intimidated by that big ask.
Right.
And what I could have done even then, and for those of you who are listening, again, I go back to what I just said. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone who has that skill set, someone who has developed in that area where you don't feel as strong. It is okay.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm gonna look and see if there is any questions. I don't see any questions, but you guys listen, if after we have gone off the air and offline, if you have any questions, Megan is on Facebook. Megan, give us some information on where you are, where are you in social media, how can we reach you, what. Matter of fact, I don't think I even talked to you about this. If you have anything you'd like to offer and have folks email you, because sometimes I know we like to kind of give, something, but that's totally up to you. I just want you to know that to feel free to do that. But share those platforms where we can find you.
Absolutely. So I am on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm also on TikTok as well. You can find me on Facebook at Megan A. Molix. You can type in I am Megan Alexandria. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok as I am Megan Alexandria. My website is meganmolix.com. I am very active on social media. I respond to comments, questions, messages, as best as I can. As soon as I try to get to them as quickly as possible. But I do have a 9 to 5 as well. So I'm on there. I do have something. I have a ebook. My ebook is free. My ebook is called 5 Ways to Increase Your Credibility. And so you can download that. If you go to my website, you can download that. Or I can place a link, Ms. Donna. If I could send the link to you, you could put it in the chat. Then I could put the link in and you will be able to book up. If you would like to book a discovery call with me, the services, and this goes back to what I just talked about, knowing what I do best. So the services that I'm offering right now is I'm always offering consultations to people. So that is the service that people can book with me. I also have a personal brand development service, a content marketing strategy service as well. That's the one that I love the most. And that's simply where I strategize with you on how to take your expertise, how to take your ideas, how to take who you are and position you on social media or on LinkedIn or wherever you want to be to show you as the expert. People will sometimes tell me, Megan, I don't know what to post. Well, just post who you are, post what you do. And I know sometimes that may seem intimidating on social media, but I work with people and teach them exactly how to do that, how to put their content on social media. And I
Wow.
also have a brand management service as well for more established entrepreneurs. But I can send that link. I can put it in the chat here and we can get that link to people. And like I said, my ebook is free. And it's a very short ebook, just basically showing you how to really elevate your business and elevate your brand in a way. Just five very simple things that you can do to take your brand from good to great.
All right. All right. Good. So you guys, I'm going to get this link to you ASAP. I don't see any questions. I just want to make sure that I scroll up because I don't want to miss anyone. I really appreciate you all for jumping on. Thank you so much. We're going to get Megan back again. I hope, listen, she's not too busy for the little people. Um So we're going to have another opportunity at sometime during hopefully before the end of this year 2024. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to being able to chat it up with you again, Megan. There's some things you just brought to my mind. And I know I need to make a connection with you even, yeah, even after this. So all of you business owners out there, yeah, no copycat. Exactly. We're not copycat. We're not gonna, if you listen, I heard a really successful woman, she's at the top of her game right now, and she said it's okay to copy, just make sure you're copying the right cat. And she
Right.
wasn't
That's
saying it
good.
was okay, right? She wasn't saying it was okay to copy their thing because you want
Right.
your own message. You want to be identified as who you are individually,
Right.
all of your great and wonderfulness.
Right. Right.
But you
Right.
want to make sure that you're at least gleaning from those who aren't just talking about it in the corner, and not
Right.
from those who always have opinions, but they're actually making big moves, they're taking action, they're waking up from the dream and implementing some things in the
Right.
world,
Absolutely.
growing and making a difference. So, any last words, Megan, on branding and building or marketing? Any last words? You got the floor, and then we're gonna go and do our thing and whatever it is you're doing to grow your business.
So I would just want to leave you with just remember you have the vision for a reason, that
Mhm.
you are the solution to someone's problem. And what you have on the inside of you is so important that if you don't do it, then the person that you're supposed to touch, the people that you're supposed to touch, the places you're supposed to touch, they're going to lack because your gifting is not in place. So just remember to just start, that you can always correct in your forward movement, that
Mhm.
you are greater than what you see, that there is always more for you. And just know that, like I said, the vision, the most important thing, stay in the purpose of who you are. And as long as you remain in the purpose of who you are, then your brand will be built with excellence and integrity.
Wow. You guys might have to go back, rewind, and get that again because she said a mouthful that could really just take us in a whole different and other, you know, roadways and all that good stuff because it stirs up so much. Megan, I want to thank you so much for jumping on after your 9 to 5 and just taking out the time because we really appreciate it. I knew that you were going to be able to help us to advance and to move forward in our businesses. So I really want to thank you. Those of you who are tuning in, thank y'all so much for hopping on once again. I'm going to get Megan's link to you so that you can go out and grab that thing, and you can also just catch up with her on she's blowing up TikTok, trust me. And I'm following her on Instagram and all that jazz, and I'm learning so much But I can imagine there's nothing like having that personal one-on-one with her directly so that she can really start to find out what your concept is, the concept and the vision is for your business and where you want to go. Oftentimes it takes a little bit more of investing in time and even money so that you can grow beyond what's comfortable to you, so that you can grow beyond what's in your little immediate circle, even though that might seem huge. If you want your business to be national or global, if you want your business to get outside of your state, you're going to have to make the connections with people who are doing the doggone thing and doing it right. And they're skilled and they're savvy enough to do it. So you guys, thank you for hopping on. Megan, hang tight with me just a moment while I get ready to let the audience go over on YouTube. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch up with y'all a little bit later, send you the email, send you the link, and you'll also get a free digital copy of Savvy Business. It's the eSource magazine that I created some years back. And it's just got some good information in it. I do have a hard copy, but you're going to get the digital copy of it. It has some good stuff in there about business startup and talking about, working, doing the double, working 9 to 5 and trying to handle your business, or new authors. So y'all hang tight with me. And then I'll get that information to you. Thank you so much. I'll check in with y'all later. Megan, hold tight right there.